Hey everybody, it's Brent Central, Arkansas. Today's video is about comparing and taking a look at two different types of green beans to see which one I want to grow. Now, I'm a lazy gardener of sorts. If I find a variety or something that works for me, I like to stick with it. I will try some new different types of vegetables at times, especially if I'm not completely satisfied. But I think here I've got a choice between two potential winners. And for just a quick view, I think I know which one I'm going to continue to plant over and over. They're both open pollinated, meaning that I can leave the pods on the vine and the seed that come from it are going to be just like the seed, just like the plants we see here. In this particular row here, I've got a Jade 2 green bean and a Calima green bean, C-A-L-I-M-A. On the right side over here, I've got two other beds of Calima, and on the left side over here, I've got two more beds of Jade 2. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to harvest from all three beds, and then I'm going to put them in a container, and I'm going to weigh them is what I'm trying to say. I'm going to weigh the difference. We'll just take a look at them side by side to do a visual, and who knows, my mind is kind of made up now, but who knows, we'll see in the end. I don't particularly think a taste test is going to do much because I've grown all kinds of green beans, pole, and I'm talking about snap green beans, pole and bush, and there's just, in my undiscernible taste palette, there's just not a huge difference between the two. I don't like the string in the older stringy green beans where you pop the end off and you have to pull the string down the length of the green bean because that's not good eating quality. But these two varieties don't have that problem, so selection between these two is not going to be an issue, I anticipate anyway. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little bit of harvesting. I'll show you that, and then we will do a weight on the harvest, and so we'll get an idea of how much is coming from each one. I have three beds, so you'll get an overall which one's more productive initially, and then we'll get a look at it and just look at a visual which one looks prettier. And that sort of thing, and then we'll just kind of compare them, and I'll give you my overall thoughts in the end. So here we go. All right, I've got this little reversible seed. I can put it upside down like that, or right side up, however you want to see it, and it can be elevated or lower. For green bean picking, because I have mild color vision deficiency, I'm going to put it low, and I get down low. I'm barefooted because I use flip-flops a lot out here in the garden, and if I have them on, it puts stresses on the flip-flops and it makes them not last as long. And so I'm down here, I've got a little bucket here, and I'm going to start picking. And the way I do it is I just pull them apart a little bit. I take and hold, what's the best way to show this? I take and hold the green bean itself like this, and then I put my two finger and thumb up here up top, and then I pull with these bottom three fingers like that. If you take and you pull the bean like this, just pull the bean, what could happen is you could snap the actual, we won't call it a vine, but the branch, and that will kill off potential production. Some of these are a tad oversized, but I think they're still quite good. I don't know what it is, but green beans that are curved, there's nothing wrong with that. They eat great. I just prefer straighter beans. You can see here there's a couple small ones here that are straighter. Those aren't quite ready. And so that's one plant. That's actually two plants. I didn't thin these out. I don't know if I told you that. I was gonna thin them out, but I'm like, they're growing pretty good together. So I planted two in each little spot 4 inches apart, and I just let them grow. They seem to have done great. I want a little bit of size on the green bean, but at the same time, I can't let them get too oversized because the plant will stop trying to produce. And so the more you pick these, the more they're going to produce. Now I planted 6 beds because I don't anticipate getting a ton of green beans from 6 8-foot beds. It's, what's that, 8 times 6, 48 foot of green beans. But if I get a surplus, then I will, and I think I'll show that in this video too, I'll process these and freeze them. These are a little thin, I think, but if it's in between the stage like that, I'll go ahead and get them. There's not a super specific on picking these. If you wait too long, obviously they're going to have beans in them. They're going to start developing. So yeah, with my mild color vision issue, shades of green can sometimes blend together. I can see them, but sometimes they blend together and I will miss some. And so I want to make sure that I don't miss any. So that's why I'm lower and a little more thorough with the plant, bending it over and looking. An alternative, the way I pick, is I'll hold the plant stem and then I'll pull it like that. I like them when they're like that, long and straight. Another thing about picking them a little iffy like this is I don't plan to come out here every day and pick beans. And so I want to get, 3-4 days in between picking at least. So that means there's going to be some that are bigger than others, because if I don't get them a little bit smaller, they'll be really big or over big by the next time I harvest. And plant production may also suffer, because picking is what stimulates more little ones like this one right here. It lets them flowers. See, I missed this one right here. All those flowers, so nice. I really like being out in the garden. It's very relaxing. It engages your mind, engages the visual, and gets you to thinking. It's peaceful. You can hear the birds. Watching the plants grow is just really awesome part of nature. It's a bit humbling, peaceful, and just fun. I don't think I'll need to go on the other side to look at it from the other side, because I can see through the plants plenty good, especially with moving them around. And I'm only going to show you this one bed, and then I'll do the other 2 beds And then we'll just kind of get a look in the bucket, see what we kind of got for Calima. And I think I mentioned these two beds are Calima, so we'll do Calima first. I don't know if these are considered filet type of beans, which means they're thinner by breeding than a normal green bean or a fatter green bean. I can't remember, but I'll look it up and put it in the video. The reason why I'm saying that is because they're not too terribly thick. Alright, that's pretty much it for one bed. I'm going to now finish the other two beds and bring you back. This is what we've got. Put my hand in here for reference. This is from the 3 Calima beds here. So I'm going to get a weight on them. And I'm going to put the weight side by side at the end of the video. So I'm going to record it now and then pick Jade 2. And then I'll put the side by side. It's not going to be side by side, but one right after the other. I don't know if you can see down there, but the Calima beans, this one's Jade 2, that one's Calima. And so you got a side by side of the color variation and shade. The Jade 2 is greener. Whereas the Calima is a lighter color. To me, that means that this one normally would mean that this one's healthier. If you know different, if you grow Calima and it typically is a lighter shade, let me know in the comments. But it just appears to me that this Jade 2 is a little more robust and a little darker, and that might not be the case. I can tell you that the green beans on this one are a little bigger around. They don't seem to be quite as long so far. Well, this one's all right. But I'm gonna get after it. I know my camera battery is a little bit low, so if it cuts off, I'll bring you back at weigh in. In the meantime, I'll just continue to talk about what I'm seeing. I don't see a lot of evidence that it's more productive than Calima, this Jade 2, but the weight will tell us that. The foliage is a little denser in the Jade 2. It's not as easy to spread apart and search for the beans in the leaves. Ooh, that's a good one. Look at that bad boy. Love that if they were all like that. A lot of fruit on these, they're just not sized up yet. Yes, these are fruit. Beans are fruit. Anything that has a flesh with a seed in it, that's a fruit. We botanically, now we eat them as vegetables. We eat a lot of fruit that are vegetable, that we call vegetables. Tomatoes, squash, all number of things. Like I said, if it's got fruit and seed inside of it, I mean, if it's got flesh and seed inside of it, it's a fruit. Tell you, I like the shape of Jade 2 better so far. Not so far, completely. Just the shape of it, the width of the bean itself. I don't have predetermined thoughts on it. I want simply what works best for me. I am noticing that some of the leaves on the very bottom are starting to yellow. Not a lot, but some. That's just plant age. I've not had really any pests, so I say that, and I look at this one and there's some chewing on it. I'll cut that off. The chewed part, and we'll eat that anyway. So because I'm not seeing pests, I'm not really spraying. I'm not spraying at all. I say not really, I'm not. And that's preferable. Not spraying is preferable. But sometimes you have to. Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do, or they will win. They be into bugs. All right, that's the first one. Let me do the other two and we'll get away. I want to show you this. This is a Jade 2 bed, and it is a lot denser in here. Now I may have overplanted it, so that may be a lesson learned here, but the fruit is lower on the plant too. There's no way I can look at the whole thing from just this side. I'm going to have to go to the other side to do part of the harvest. So that's different than Calima. Planted the exact same way. The Jade 2 is just, especially in this particular bed, is just very dense. And I've got a lot of fruit that aren't sized up yet, all over. You can see down here as well, fruits all over. Now I don't know particularly why this plant is different than Calima, but there's aspects I don't like about it, and that is at least at this plant density, you have to get especially into the plant more, which could be problematic to missing beans or damaging the actual foliage and leaves. This is what I've picked from the 3 beds of Jade 2, and they look a little darker green and a little bit bigger around. That could be a bias, I don't know, because I had a predetermined desire for Jade 2 over Calima, but the weight will tell me for sure which one's the better one. So this is how I weigh. This is how I weigh microgreens more specifically. So what I'll do here is I'll turn on the scale. I've got a cup here that I use to elevate so we can see what it weighs here. And so I've got the green beans on a paper plate. I got an empty paper plate, so I'm going to tear it out, zero it out, so that way when I weigh this one, the weight of the paper plate is removed from the overall weight. Let me get those two that fell off. $15.3 ounces. Dang, that's near a pound. I wasn't expecting that much. That's not too bad. If I can get that consistently a couple times a week, we're set for green beans. If you just look at it, this is overpiling, so you would anticipate that this is going to be heavier than Calima. But we'll go through the process just to see exactly how much it is. Same thing, zero out. Now we'll attempt to put this on top of the cup. I may have to pick up some beans that fall. Whoa. Put these three on here. All right, I managed to do it. This is 32.4. This is over twice as much. I think the other one was just under a pound, 15 point something, and these is just over 2 pounds, 32.4 ounces. So the obvious first harvest winner by twice as much is Jade 2 over Calima. Side by side on the plate here, you can see the Calima and the Jade 2. And I did not selectively pick which ones I chose. I picked what I thought was good to eat out the vine. So this comparison's not jaded. Jade. It's not jaded at all. Speaking of Jade, this is Jade 2. I got the seed from Rupp Seed. There's a more common version of Jade, just Jade by itself, and lots of people have Jade. Jade 2 is supposed to be an improvement on Jade. I don't recall ever growing Jade, so I can't tell you the difference. Well, maybe I did. I think I did, actually. But I can't recall which one I favored back then. But anyway, I bought Jade 2, and I've had the seed a while, vacuum sealed and frozen, and it works great every year. Anyway, this is the Calima. It's new to me. I decided to try it based on a friend's review, one of his favorites. And just in a quick view, I can tell you that these are thinner. They're not as dark, probably not as meaty because they're not as substantial, as big around. I don't know what the taste is going to entail. I'm not going to include that part in the video because, like I said before, I'm not sure my palate can discern the difference in green beans from one to the next, honestly. Difference in taste amongst different varieties, sure. Like a rattlesnake versus a Jade 2, I could tell the difference in that. But a regular snap bean, there's probably thousands of varieties. If you line me up, I couldn't tell you the difference from one. And after taste testing 3 or 4, I'd be like, oh my gosh, I wouldn't be able to tell the difference. But anyway, maybe you can. So what are your thoughts on what you see so far? So I decided to wrap up this video out here in the more bright sun, even though the sun's not out, it's a little cloudy. But underneath my deck there, it's kind of hard to see my facial features. So I thought I would park it on my mother-in-law's bench. We built this for her, and she passed a little over a year ago, and we do miss her. But anyway, every time I sit on this, I think of her, and now you can see me a little more clearly. So I'm going to wrap up this video. I don't think I'm going to process the beans for you. It's not that complicated. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to blanch them in boiling water for about 3 minutes. Then I'm going to take them out immediately, put them on into an ice bath. I'm going to leave it in there for about 5 minutes so they quit cooking completely. And then I'm going to pat them dry, put them on a cookie sheet, and let them freeze individually for about 4 hours or so, 4 or 5 hours, so they're hard. And then I'm going to take them off the cookie sheet and put them in a Ziploc bag, seal that, and then it's a freezer Ziploc bag, seal that, and then put a Walmart bag around that. And that way, when we want green beans, we just go inside the bag there and just take out however much we want. So that process, there's probably gazillions of videos on that, so I won't do that. The main point of this video was the difference between the two types of green beans that I'm growing. I selected them based off of reviews. So again, battery failure. Get away from me, wasp. So yeah, I selected them off of reviews online mostly. And so this is my actual review of two different varieties, and the clear winner for me is Jade 2. It's a little bushier, but that kind of helps too because they intermingle amongst each other some and kind of prevent each other from leaf collapse and breakage and stuff like that, and especially high winds. So that's my thoughts. Jade 2 is what I'm going for. Next year, no more Calima, no more any other kind of green beans. I'm satisfied with Jade 2. Tell me what your experience is with bush beans and your suggested variety. And if you enjoyed this video, please share the video, because when you share the video, I think who you share it with will enjoy it. Plus, it gets the video out there, and maybe they'll share it. It helps grow my channel because that's an issue for me for some reason. And also, please like and subscribe. Liking also helps with the algorithm growing, helping in my favor. And leave a comment. I'll respond to it. I don't care if it's a good or a bad comment. You know, just kind of be tactful, and I'll answer you. I'll do my best to answer people. And I really enjoyed this comparison. It's enlightening for me, and it helps me assess what I want to do in the future as far as green beans go. This is Brent, you guys. We'll see you in the next video.
How long do we gotta stay here for people we don't know in one lines? All of the clothes are designer, fast cars, and who knows who. Yeah, I know what they wanna say. They're gonna ask me if I'm gonna make it. I don't care if I'm gonna have to fake it, long as I can